Trump administration has a lot on its plate this week, leaving the Iran deal all while trying to pave the way for a new deal with North Korea. And yet another challenge getting Senate confirmation for Gina Haspel, Trump's nominee to head the CIA. She'd bring over 30 years of experience at the CIA to the role and would become the very first woman to run the agency. Certainly a breakthrough on that front.
But Haspel is a highly controversial choice for another reason. Her past position after 9/11, heading one of those so-called black box sites in Thailand where torture was allegedly used in interrogations. Here's what Haspel said today on that subject in the Senate.
Having served in that tumultuous time, I can offer you my personal commitment, clearly and without reservation, that under my leadership, on my watch, CIA will not restart a detention and interrogation program. CIA has learned some tough lessons from that experience.
Well, getting Haspel approved is going to be another challenge for the White House. And someone with an inside view of how the West Wing operates on this and other issues is Adam Belmar. He's the former White House Deputy Communications Director under President George W. Bush. And today he's a partner in the lobbying firm EFB Advocacy. Adam, thanks for joining us. Let me ask you, the Trump administration has already bailed on a couple of controversial nominees. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, Admiral Jackson, of course, is the most recent example. Gina Haspel, do you think they're going to be able to pull her through, and how will they be helping her?
Well, Caleb, I think that Gina Haspel is on her way to being confirmed as the next Director of Central Intelligence, and she did a lot to pull herself through today. I watched that entire hearing, and as much as was made of the torture history in the post-9/11 days, we also have to take into consideration that this is a woman who is an amazing patriot, who's dedicated her life to America's safety and working with our intelligence partners. And a lot of that, while it wasn't questioned today, is well known to senators on both sides of the aisle.
Adam, she did say also in that conversation about torture, because it is a very critical part of her nomination, she said she will not restart that program, even if directed by the president. How common or not would a situation like that actually be, that kind of head-to-head?
Well, I think it's clear that since the president was so outspoken on the issue of waterboarding and torture in general during the campaign, that folks rightly had questions to ask. How common is it that the Director of Central Intelligence would advance a I won't do that to the Commander-in-Chief? I think what she's saying is, I'm going to uphold the moral authority of this nation in what is now well-established policy in that role, and she will stand up hard against any decision to go another way. She was clearly, at the time, earlier in her career, not in a position of great authority, although she was an important manager. But the director role is critically important as a authority in guiding the president, and at times pushing back what may be bad ideas. And I think hopefully she gave everyone in that room today the confidence that she's up to that task, and that she's got the support within the agency to do it.
Adam, let me follow up on the point you just made, because you served in an administration that was criticized on the issue perhaps of the intelligence community, supposedly tailoring its intelligence for the needs of the Bush administration, especially as regards the Iraq war. How important is it for the CIA director that has that independence? And realistically, do you think she can do that under this president?
Well, I think that she can, and I believe that we can come to that conclusion because her predecessor, Mike Pompeo, who's now gone on to be Secretary of State, has held up that role in building trust back, both for the agency widely in the world and certainly here on Capitol Hill and within this White House. But she's been by his side as the deputy director during this period. She's developed a relationship with this president that's born of trust and interpersonal communication, being a part of making sure that he and other policymakers are getting the information that they need. But there's no question that the veracity of the information that the CIA provided in the run-up to the war in Iraq was greatly compromised. That's been well established, and I think those are the things that we're still pulling ourselves out of as a nation, but it is not something that is singular. It's an ongoing fight, and she's really, I think, not only as a woman, and a lot has been made of that, Kalev, about this being the first woman to run the CIA, but she's also, by all accounts, the most experienced person coming out of the covert ranks, the operational ranks of the CIA, to run this agency, and there is a great deal to be said for the trust and the understanding of what it is to do this mission that she alone has as compared to other possible alternatives if her nomination should fail.
Adam, I want to bring in another big issue, a developing story alongside this. North Korea, another challenge that all of those agencies are going to have to deal with in one way or another. You are an expert in communication. I'm sure no one knows better than you how important it is, the message that a country is sending. What message does it send that Trump is withdrawing the U.S. from the nuclear deal just as he is trying to convince North Korea to sit down and eventually sign a new deal with this U.S. administration?
I, for one, believe that it sends the right message. I reject the position of many that we are undercutting the word of the United States by getting out of what is demonstrably a very single-minded and incomplete deal that was entered into during the Obama administration. And I think that when you take a look at the forthrightness of the North Koreans, this is unprecedented, that we're finally, after being told that it couldn't happen and seeing that it didn't happen over previous administrations, we've now got a date set, a location, although not known to all of us, a summit with the North Koreans, and today a suggestion of goodwill, not precondition, but the release of U.S. detainees in North Korea. And when I parallel that with what we saw yesterday from the president pulling out of the JCPOA, I think what we find is that the president is saying, you know what, I'm going to make the best deals for America, and we're not going to sit on our laurels that says, okay, we had good inspections, but the Israeli intelligence community has brought forward even more information never known before about the true intent of that nuclear program that is still in existence in Iran. And when it doesn't smell right, the president's going to walk away from the table. He may yet do that in North Korea. I don't see any cognitive dissonance here. I see a president who's steadfastly resolved to protect America, protect the world, protect our allies, and he's not going to take no for an answer, and he will walk away from the table. And I, for one, am glad that we are doing that, and I see a possibility of a brighter future on this front if we can renegotiate. Well,
an optimistic view of those foreign policies on all accounts. Certainly not everybody shares them. We heard a lot of criticism of Netanyahu's presentation also, and his ability to show that Iran still has a nuclear program, but that is a conversation for another day.